Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Little Nest Crafts. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. This video is going to be the second video that I've done as a design team project for Suzanne over at Non-Stop Paper Crafts using her latest kit, which is called So Pink, and you can see part of the background pages and a bit of the ephemera that is included in the kit. Now if you watched my video, my previous video, I made this little pouch with some papers from the kit and used some ephemera to do the button and just to decorate the lid of the pouch, and trimmed it on the back where I joined the papers with some lace and made a lace closure. Really simple to do, so if you are not au fait with making yourself a little pouch or folio, and it's a big envelope, then do pop along to my previous video and you'll see how to make yourself one of these. Now what I thought I'd do, I'm going to put this in my coffee shop, but I want to make a little pocket journal to go inside it. So what I've actually done is I've printed one of the background pages, and there are 36 pages including the ephemera, but there's 36 pages in this kit, and Suzanne has released her second week of freebies to go along with this kit, so there will be extras during the month of July. So I'm just going to pop that to one side, and these are the papers that I printed out, and I've got the scraps and things that I've got left from yesterday when I was doing this, making this little pouch. I did plan on making two, but I changed my mind because I thought, well, why repeat it? You can see it once, and it's so simple to do, that I decided not to repeat it on the second one. And because I printed off this paper to make the little pouch, I don't want to waste this, so I'm going to make a little cover, I think, of a little journal to pop inside this, and I thought it would complement it because this print here is the smaller version of what I used to do the pocket part of the pouch on the pouch. And so I'm going to use that, and this was the piece that was left over from making the top part of the pouch when I cut it off from there. So I thought what I would do is print off the journal pages, which is what I've done here. I printed off the journal pages, and I've done two little signatures, and I've backed the papers just with a bit of coffee dyed, a digital coffee dye that I've got in my stash. I debated whether to do a pink background, but I thought, well, it has got coffee, there are coffee dyed backgrounds in the pages, so I've included it on the back of the pages that I've printed. And some of the pages I've actually stuck together to make a little pocket. So there is a little side pocket here, and there's a little side pocket on the second page on this one as well, which is there. So I'm going to make a little divot there so that you do know that it's a pocket for the person that gets this little folio. So I've divided it into two signatures, and I think there's 6 pages per signature, so there's 12, so that'll be 24, so there's about 48 pages altogether in this little journal. And it fits inside the folio really nicely, with plenty of room for you to put bits and bobs in, a pen or whatever, your lipstick or whatever really. And so yeah, so we'll get back to the cover, and this is all the ephemera that I cut out from the kit. So we're going to use those to decorate some of the pages in this little journal. So to do the cover for this little journal, I'm just going to move those out of the way, put them to one side for now. And then what I did when I was making this little pocket, I did do two little score lines to give it a bit of a gusset. So I think that might need a bit extra room. If I was just putting one signature in there, I think it would need, it would be ample if there was just this one signature in. So I'm going to do another score line and make it a little bit deeper. So where are we there? Let's have a look, so we can get a nice straight line when we do it. I think I will go to the next one along on the board. And we'll fold it down there. Let's have a look, where are we? I might have to do it again. Perhaps didn't press quite hard enough. So back on the lines again. There we go. And this time I'm just going to fold it up there and do it that way. There we go. So now that gives us a nice sized gusset. I know that we've scored along that middle, but that'll come in handy when we're sewing in the signatures as well. And I will reinforce the gusset on this as well to give it some added strength. So we're not going to need all of this, so what I'm going to do now is pop my signatures in just to make sure that if that was folded over, that this is going to be big enough, and it is. So we'll come down a bit lower, and with this I'm actually going to cut the white edges off. I haven't done it on the little pouch, but I will for this section. Let's have a look. I think what we'll do is we'll cut this excess off first. Let's see. Yeah, so I'll cut that strip off there to match this side, making sure that we're straight by doing it like so. And in fact, if I cut the strip off as well, we know that we're the same both sides. There we go. And then we'll do the same for the bottom. And we'll pop that inside. And I'm just wondering now whether to, let's have a look at this. This is going to be my insert piece so that it's double strength and it's not quite wide enough, but that doesn't matter because we have ways and means of, you know, because we're at the end of the day we don't want to make more scraps, and I can always put a side pocket down on the back, which I could do with that, see, put it underneath there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that to the inside, or I could do pockets on both. If I put that in the middle, that might be a better option, and then it'll be equal both sides. Yeah, we'll do that. So I'm going to glue this to the inside before I start cutting pieces off the top. So just move my guillotine to one side, and we adapt things as we're going along. And yeah, so you know, you can make anything work if you're adaptable. And you know, I don't like to make too many scraps, and we try and use all of our scraps if we can, and it doesn't waste paper then. And you know, nobody would know, because by the time you finish decorating it and what have you, it will be absolutely fab. So I'm going to put that down to the bottom, I think. I'm going to find the centre of here so that that matches with the centre, and that it runs with the edges like so, and give that a fold down the middle, and already that feels nice and substantial. And then if we get our signatures, I don't need them both, but I'd like it to be a little bit wider. So with my pencil, I'm just going to mark where the pages come to inside, and I'll just give it a little bit extra on there and flip it over to that side. Oops, a daisy. Oops. And then do the same this side here, and then we'll cut those bits off. And it's near as, damn it, to the edge of the piece that I've just put in. There we go. Make sure that's straight. Lovely. And then with the top, let's have a look. I need it just a little bit longer than there. So we shall do that. And it might be that I turn it round. Or what I could do as well is fold that up and make that the pocket. And that way, yeah, I think we're going to do that. There we go. And we'll try that inside there. Lovely. So that's a quick little journal pocket cover. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a slither off the middle to there, and a slither off the middle there in just a little V shape. Cut that out. So I've just taken it out of the middle there, and that just helps the journal cover close, and then we can just trim any bits that are protruding so that we've got the same. Let's have a look. There we go. Right, pop that out of the way. So that's nice. And then we can glue this little side pocket down. There we go. And then those can be stitched in. I'm going to have that one as the front one, seeing as it's a sewing themed journal, and just make sure that it does actually cover the signatures. Now what happens is when you put your papers inside your signatures, the middle ones, the more pages you put in, they start to protrude out of the middle. So what I tend to do is I get my Stanley knife and my craft knife, and I'll trim those down so that it gives it a more even edge. So we'll do that. And there's a little bit on the top there that wants trimming as well, because obviously this lot won't go through my guillotine. So we'll try and keep your ruler nice and firm and just work your way through all of the layers nice and slowly. There we go. And that way we've got a nice clean edge there. And we'll do the same down these sides. Now if you don't want to do this, you don't have to, because what you can do is use lace on your edges as well, which is another way of making your pages a bit more uniform if they are a bit higgledy-piggledy. So that's just another one of the tricks, if you like. So we'll have a look there. And that could do straightening just a tad as well. There we go. And then we'll do this one. Let's have a look now. I don't know if some of the pages slip there, but we'll have a look when we put them together. Yeah, I think they did. They're a bit wonky there. Oops. There we are. Lovely. Now then we'll try it again in here. And that's gorgeous, nice neat edges there. So we can glue these pockets down. Now if you want to sew your pockets and sew the edges of your journal, then now's the time to do that. I'm not sewing this journal, as I said yesterday. One, because my little mini sewing machine's not working properly and I haven't had a chance to have a look at it. But not everybody has a sewing machine or even likes sewing. And mine, when I use it, it just keeps knotting everything up at the back and is a mangled mess. Now I don't mind it, you know, being a bit rough and ready, because at the end of the day we're you know, if it's grungy and what have you, sometimes that can be, look, you know, part of the journal if it's got a bit of a grungy and, you know, things are wonky and that sort of thing. But you know, I don't want it to look a total mess. So there we go, I'll let those dry off a little bit, and then I've got some ink that I might ink around the edges, although I didn't do that for the pouch. Now I think what I might do is go off camera and I'll sew these signatures in. And for those of you who want to know how to sew in the signatures, you know, if you look on my previous playlist, I have got videos of, you know, making journal covers and sewing your signatures in. And I just use, with these little ones, I just use a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So it is really, really easy to do. So I'll put you on pause and I'll be back in a minute. Right everybody, what I decided to do is just make one signature in the end, and I use that centre score line that's between the other two score lines as my stitching line, and you know, it fits lovely. The signatures all look nice together. And so what we'll do now is have a look what we've got in the way of ephemera, and make some bits and bobs to decorate the journal with. Now over here I have got some scraps of lace, and there's a nice piece there, look, that we could perhaps use to trim something on the front, or I've got some broderie anglais there, which is nice. That would actually go around the middle. That would probably be perfect actually to go around the centre as a trim. And I won't use that because it's the wrong colour. What else have we got? That's the wrong colour as well. I've got little bows. I've got a leafy thing though, that's off an old quilt of mine. There's a bit of a scrappy tea baggy colour there, and a bit more. And we've got some lace. There's a lacy bit there. Wrong colour really. There's a bit of something pink, we could use that. And there's another bit of lace trim, and some pink ribbon. And we've also got these little bits which are rather lovely that we got from one of the girls in the retreat. One of Rachel and Bella's retreats gifted us a little roll. I think it was in last year's retreat, and she'd actually dyed this piece, I think, different colours, so we can perhaps have a look there and see if there's anything that would be okay to go in. And let's have a look. Pop that to one side. Let's have a look at some of the there's an envelope I put together, and I've put some of the words that came with the kit in there. And we've got some tags here. Now I think there are some taller tags. We've got some pockets which we might have to adapt, because I think they're mainly for the full-size journal, but there are some smaller ones because I printed this off obviously half size. We've got a button card there. There's a pocket here. There's some nice cards. So let's have a look what we could do. Make these pockets really simply. the edge on the front there. And let's have a look. I thought there was some more tags actually. Another pocket there. So we just fold those back. And ink the edge there. So we can pop those on some of the pages. Let's have a look what we've got. Let's have a look, let's have a look. We've got a nice tag there. Wait a minute. I'd like to stencil on those, and we've got to make something to go in the pocket, so let's have a look at that. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Because it goes with the pink florals on the edge of that page. Or you could do it, let's go towards the back. Let's see, let's see. Yeah, that one I think. Or could we do that one instead? Yeah, I think we'll pop that one on there. And we'll pop that little tag in it. Let's have a look, where are we? Where did I pop it then? Oh dear. And I'll put some eyelets in and some ribbon. Pop those over there. I'm just going to sort through these and see if we can find some larger tags. And there we are. So we've got a nice big tag there, which could go in the front, or you can actually use them as closures. I think that one might be okay to go in the front. Let me just get my... to make sure the pocket's free. That one fits in lovely in there. And as I say, we'll do an eyelet in there. And we've got some smaller pockets as well, like half the depth. Now I think we could use these as a tuck spot as well. That might be a nice tuck spot there. Let me get my other dauber. Yeah, I think we will do that. But before I do that, I'm going to make a hole. And we'll put in an eyelet. And I'm going to get a bulb kit. And I'll put that through, and then we can hang some bits and bobs from this. You know, hang it down, and we'll use it as a tuck spot as well. So let's have a ink these sides and the bottom. Oops. My glue is getting a bit gloopy. So we can use that as a tuck spot and a decorative piece. And then we can hang some bits of material, bits of lace, beads, and we can put in a nice, that's a bit too big for that one. But we can put in another nice, a nice tag or journaling card like that. So I'll just ink around the edges of that one too with my Distress Ink Vintage Photo. And I'm going to stencil on the back of these as well. I might even put some Mod Podge, put some tissue paper and Mod Podge on the back. I'll see how I feel. There's another pocket there that can go in. Now some of you might like that to go in with this pocket, but I quite like to put them in different sections, so we'll put a pocket in the back somewhere. There we go, there's a nice spot there. And we'll just ink around the edge. And I might put it on the opposite page this time. There we go. And we've got another nice tag there that I'll do the same, put in a lovely brad, not a brad, an eyelet and a protector on the back if I can find them. Always the ones that are difficult to find. Makes you wonder if they actually put them in. Let's have a look. Yes, I'll tuck down the bottom. There's one on there. Hang fire, everybody. Sorry about that. I think there's one or two there. But I do like to strengthen the back of the cards. All fingers and thumbs. There we go. And then we'll put something on the top there, or we could even use that one. I think this one will go in the back pocket. I'll make a hole in it ready because I've got some larger eyelets. There we go. Just make sure my pocket's clear because my glue's a bit gloopy. It keeps making strings that when you're going over your page they leave a little trail. There we go. So we'll pop that in there. So that one's to be decorated. And then we've got, let's have a look. I'm trying to think, we've got little envelopes here as well. So I'll just pop that to one side and we'll make up this little envelope here. I like the way Suzanne's designed these. So you've got the bottom there and then the top flap there. Lovely. So I'm going to put some glue along there. Put some glue along there. There we go. And then I think what I might do is round the corners, if they'll go in, because these might not go in because the edges aren't straight. So we'll have a go. No, they're not going to go in. You need a straight edge to get it to sit right, but that doesn't matter. So that's a little envelope. We'll pop that there. And we've got another tag here, which, same again, we'll There we go. And we'll also do this one. Oops. So we'll put something on the back, get some nice stencils, and stencil the back of the tags. Normally I print on the back, but I forgot. So it just makes me a little bit more work. Now we could put that in the middle of the page to be slightly different. Let's have a look at these two. There's a lacy one here. And we've got larger ones too. That would fill half a page. So that'd be quite nice to take a large tag. So let's have a look. So we've got one on there. We've got a side tuck in there to put something inside. How about that one? No. I want a page that's more pinky. That's got a pocket in. So that would be nice. Oh, that would be nice, I think. Yeah. So, where's my dauber? And we'll pop this there we go. And I try and get those bits inside this bottom bit because it's easier for your things to slide in and out without catching. The side bits sort of guide it down into the base of your pocket. So you could actually put an envelope in there. That tag's a tad too big, I think, for this particular project. Now we've got another one here, another large one. So I'm going to do the same, pop this in the back half. So it's very simple if you're using a kit. You know, make the most of your pockets and things like that. And it does save you a bit of time. How about that? Yep, I like that. Oops, big gloopy strand there. So I don't know what the weather's been doing by you, but we've had a drop of rain here, well, yesterday. So things have certainly cooled down a bit. I mean, we were in the 30s last week, and now it's in the 20s. So it's a bit more bearable. I mean, I used to love the heat, but as I've got older, I find it a bit more difficult to cope with. So we could actually put a little pocket on the front of there if we wanted. We could have a lacy pocket to make it a double pocket. But I quite like the fact it's got that. So let's have a look. Just wondering, maybe a little low down pocket there, or you could have an up tuck. Yeah, we'll do that. Have an up tuck up there to slide something in. No, it's not quite big enough for that envelope. Where did the little one go? Let's have a look. You could pop that up there like that. Now then, there's this pocket as well, which is a bit big for this journal. We've got to cut out these and you can slot things in, but that's no problem because I can shorten it. So I'll cut that off camera, and then we'll use that on a page. So I'll put that down here. To-dos. Decorate the front of this envelope. So I'm just going through the rest of the bits and bobs that are on the side here. There's another pocket. And I like lots of pockets in my journals, I don't know about you, to pop things in. Photos and, you know, mementos. It's always nice to have plenty of storage. There we go. So we'll find a spot for this. And just pink my edges and find a page. Yeah, I think that would be a nice page there. Now I'm wondering, one of these little lighter pockets could go on the front, or one of the smaller ones. Let's have a look what we've got. We've got, these are journaling cards. I think that one would look better in there actually. And we have another little pocket here. That looks nice on there, I think, because it goes with the outside, but I want to make a little notch. Make a little notch in it. That one's a bit big. There we go. There is actually a mark there for a notch that Suzanne's put in anyway. And then we'll just trying to get all the glue off the bottom there. There we go. It's so expensive, you don't like to waste a drop of it. There we go. So you've got a nice little double pocket there that you can put some of your ephemera in. You've got some scissors. You've got lots of little buttons that could go in. Let's have a look. So lots of buttons in there, a pair of scissors. They want strengthening. I have cut out backs to go on them, so I will strengthen those. I cut them out as I'm cutting out the buttons. With any scraps, I cut the backs out as well, so that you can give them another layer. Well, I usually do 3, depending on the thickness of my card. And we've got words, you can put some words in. There's a nice little card there, journaling card. You can slot that in as well. I'll cut those out there. It's just to give you ideas, really. Put a bit of glue on this one. Slide it round. And they want inking round as well. There's a small button there. And then we've got some notches that I've, Suzanne's only made the half notch, so to give them added strength, I've cut a spare piece out with my whale tail punch, so those can be made a bit thicker. And I need some larger circles. Let's have a look. I've got this one that can be glued. And then we've got, this is a big mega pocket, so you could actually cut this down to fit the side of your page, or I could have used it on the back of my, if you wanted an outer pocket on your pouch, you can use that. It's a good size look for the outer side. Yeah, but I won't do it on that one. But what I might do is cut these off. Cut those strips off. And then let's have a look at the back here. I could make a pocket for the back. If I do that, to make it even, I'm going to cut a bit off there, and that way your pocket still remains equal. You know, the curvature in the middle remains equal. And what could I do there? I could put a ruffle around there, so that, let's have a look at the lace that we've got here. Where did that lacy bit go? No, I don't like that. It's a bit too big, I think. What else have I got in my stash? In order for it to match the back of here, what I'm thinking is I could actually put some of this along the edge. So let's have a look. And it would tie the two in together to make them like a set, and it will curve better. Yeah, we'll do that. So I'm going to put some glue around the edge there, fairly generous, and we'll pop that to one side. Don't want to lose my, pop that to one side, and then there we go, perfect. There we are, and then that can sit on the back there. So we'll glue that down. I'm just winging it, folks. Sorry, I've not forward planned any of this. I'm just trying to think on the fly, as it were, and hopefully it'll give you some inspiration. So we'll leave that to dry there, and then that could probably slip in there on the back, which would be rather nice, but it's dipping in the glue. I can feel it sticking in the bottom of this pocket, so we'll let it dry for a bit. And I've not been very great at cutting, so this just needs trimming a little bit more. It's a bit wavy, just to try and make it a bit more pleasing to the eye. That's okay. And then get my dauber and I'm going to put it in, but I'm not going to put it right in. No, I better not. Wait till it's dry. Asking for trouble. No, wait till it's dry, Wendy. So, what else could you put on the bottom there? Let's have a look what we've got. There's another tag there. Some more tags here for the pockets on the inside. We've got some scraps. We've got these little pieces, which should go nice in a pocket. And then let that dry. Pop that in there. Want an up tuck there. I need a booklet, I think, or something to tuck in there because it's gusseted. So we'll make a little booklet to go in there. What else have we got? We've got lots of circles. We've got pieces like this. We've got bits of lace. We've got things for words to go on. My circles are there. That could go on the end of a page or on the top of a page. Let's have a look. Where's the centre pages? No, then. We've got a nice lady here that could go on a pocket or on the corner of a page or on the front even, underneath something. You could have a tuck spot, some lace. We've got some of this lace here. Let's have a look. It'd be nice if it was pink. I wonder how if I take a little bit off and then use my distress ink, we could see maybe not that one, but the Victorian velvet. I'm just going to move that over to one side, pop that on my desk, and with my dauber, just see if this will work on the lace. Yeah, it does actually. So we'll go over this lace a little bit. And let me clean that off there. There we are, it stands out a little bit more. So we'll cut that bit off. I think that's the underside. There we go. I'm inclined to cut round this and use this on the front. So let's have a look. Let me just clear the decks a little bit. My desk has got a crafter lunch on it, as Jez would say. So let's have a look. I'm going to cut round. I'm going to cut that loop out. Right round there, get that leaf. There we go. So let me just get rid of that. I've got this lace. I'm just going to make it a bit more raggedy at the edges. There we go. There we are. And then we'll glue that down, bringing some more of the lace down to the bottom. Yep, so that's what we'll do. Maybe there's another bit that I can put at the top. There we go. So we'll put some glue on here. And then we've got an extra piece for at the top there, where it was just a tad short. Waste not, want not. There we are. And then we'll put some glue on here and stick everything together. There we go. Toto's in a singing mood. That's who you can hear in the background. Our African grey parrot, who found us. And we've had her for since 2014. So she couldn't speak when we found her, or when she found us. So there we go, that's that on the front. Hi everybody, welcome back. Sorry about that, my battery was almost flat, so I've had to recharge my phone. So I carried on crafting behind the scenes because it was a bit slow to charge because it was totally empty. And so I've actually finished the little journal and I've popped it in the case here. So I will give you a quick flip through and show you what we've completed. And I'll just quickly talk you through you know, the bits and pieces that I've used. So we finished the top, the cover, and all I've done is the battery was about to die as I stuck the lady on the front, and then I've added some extra pieces from the kit. This flower is from my stash, but the little sewing ribbon holder and this mannequin is actually from this week's freebie that Suzanne's put on in a Ko-fi shop. So I thought that looked quite nice. So inside we've got an inside pocket, and here I put a little pocket on as well on the front, and I've put some buttons and a piece of the ephemera there. They've just fit in nicely, so it gives some, you know, the person that gets this journal gives them extra pieces to put in on the journal pages where they wish. So we've got a nice big long tag there. Now I have it stenciled on the back because I decided that with it being mainly white, that I would leave it as is. And what I've done is I've gone round the tags and things with a black alcohol marker pen. So as you can see here, and I think it just finishes off the ephemera and goes with the black bits and bobs in the journal. So here we are, look. So that's one of the circles, and this was on the freebie, and it had got a black outline anyway, so I've just enhanced it with my black marker pen. So we made an up tuck there, and I've put the tabs, there is 2 tabs with this kit, so I put one on the beginning of the first half of the journal, and then one on the second half of the signature. And as you can see, there's lovely laces. I put some of the words in as well, and I've stuck in some of the ephemera onto the pages. This is the little tag that I made, and I put a bulb clip in, and I've put one of the buttons and a bit of frou-frou and a bit of material there, and it's got a retro card on there. Now this is one of the pockets, and I've put in one of the larger lace keepers or ribbon keepers, and it's quite handy because with them having the bulbous bit on the top and the bottom, they act as little tabs in the pocket. And there are 4 pockets in this journal, so I've printed these off twice. There is 4 in the set, but I've backed them, and they are almost a perfect match. So when you cut round one and cut round the other one, they do more or less match together. So I've, you know, put the back in. I put them back to back. So I printed them out twice to get 4 ribbon keepers, and lovely images in this little journal. Finished all of the tags with some ribbon, some of them in some cases double ribbon, and I've used quite a cerise pink to match some of the cerise pink that's in the kit, and I've used more of this little flowered trim around the pockets, and you've got a nice card there tucked in the pocket, and you can put your own ribbons and laces around these little lace keepers. So more buttons in here, and a bit of ephemera as well in there that's got a bit of frou-frou on, just to give it a bit of added interest. And you've got a couple of tags here, so lots of writing space there, and some more of the lovely images. Here's another pocket and another of the lace keepers there, and I've matched it up with the pocket on this one. I thought that was quite nice. And on the back here you've got this envelope, and here I put a button and some bits of cream lace that were from my stash, and lots of words in here that go with the kit, and some more journaling cards in there, so that you can add more words if you wish. Here you've got a tag. Didn't want to put anything on here because I thought it was really pretty and I didn't want to hide her lovely face. And here you've got a lace, crocheted lace tag, and another pattern from a tissue pattern print on there. Here's a little tuck spot. Now there's a belly band, and I did mean to put in a little card in there. I'll just see if I've got something to go in. I'll use this if it'll fit. So that is actually a belly band there, look. And you've got a little tuck spot on the front here. So I will try and find a little tag or something to go in there. But I'll have to do that after because I've got nothing to hand. So that is actually a little belly band. More lovely images from the kit. And here you've got a little envelope there. And what I've done, this is a digital kit of mine, and it's some antique embroidered initials. And what I did, I photocopied them on my printer, on my scanner, and I've added one of these in the kit. So this little kit, if you are interested, is in my Ko-fi shop, and it gives you 3 little, these are actually made of material in the original, and but they've scanned quite well, and they've got initials on. So you've got 3 of those, and it comes in a little tiny envelope, and it closes just like that. And I've added that as a little extra in this envelope there. And you've got 2 more little tags there. So yeah, so that little alphabet kit, embroidery on glaze initial kit, is in my Ko-fi shop. Centre page there, and I will put some little charms on here. I've got some lovely little sewing charms, and one of them is a little sewing machine, so I'm going to put those on later. So you'll get those on the threads. More lovely images and writing space. Deep pocket here, and I put some of the ribbon trim down there, little florals, and you've got another tag and another journaling card there. Here's another of the sewing ephemera, and it is backed on the back. I'll put that in that way because I think the dress is nice and it should be facing upwards. And I put some of the trim. These were just little pieces that are in the kit, and I thought they made nice little edges to the pages. And here I've made a little over the page writing spot, so I've put some ribbon and I've put some roses on the front there with the word stitch, and it looks like one of the little punch outs from doing the tags is stuck to the front. And on the back I put a bobbin, so it is faced both front and back, so it looks nice whichever way you look at it. And that's the back, and that's got a bit of sari silk there with the word bobbin, and there's a thimble. Another 3 tags in here with the word sew and some more of the little lace trim. And you've got 3 different sorts of laces here. You've got the plain pink, the polka dot pink, and then the cerise pink with some silver thread running through it. And all these 3 ribbons are throughout the journal as well. So you've got another 3 journaling cards in that deep pocket there, and you saw me making this one. It's got some tulle, and I cut out the scissors, because when I showed you the scissors initially, these were white because I hadn't fussy cut in the holes there, which I've done now. So I've stuck that on the front with a button. I have put some ribbon through the button, and you've got the cotton reel at the back, and then you've got 3 nice size tags there which slot in there with 3 ribbons. And then we've got another pocket here, and that's another of the ribbon keepers on there. Another tag, nice tall tag, and I've put in another one with the pattern, and you've also got some wordage, so I've tucked those in there. But the rest of the words that I haven't used are in the large envelope further up front of the journal. Here you've got an up-tuck spot with some lace on, and you've got a little card there and a button card on there, so that just holds in nicely. And then that's the last page. So you've got another 2 tags there with assorted ribbons and a button, and another thread or lace keeper in the back pocket. And then on the back, all I've done is I've slipped in another journaling card in the back there, and we finished that off as you saw before. So it's quite a chunky little journal. There's lots in it, lots of writing space, lots of ephemera, and it fits perfectly in this little pouch. So it'd make a lovely gift for somebody, and it's going to be in my coffee shop. All I've got to do now is take some photographs, and it'll be going in my coffee shop as soon as I've done that. So if you are interested in getting a nice little gift for somebody, then it'll be available there for you. So that's it, everybody. Hope that you like this little project. I've certainly enjoyed making it, and I hope that it's inspired you to have a go if you've not made a pouch already, and if you have, then I hope that you've still enjoyed the process, even though you're skilled and know what you're doing. So yeah, I will say good night for now, because it's about 1:30 in the morning, and time for me to go to bed. So stay safe, everybody, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video. So good night and bye for now. Bye.